What's up, guys? It's Brent from Freeland Fitness here. I'm going to try to make this video here. I don't know how well you're going to see it. As you can see, I've got this whiteboard behind me. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to edit this because just my computer's a pain. So this is actually probably gonna come up reverse. So the writing on the whiteboard, you might not be able to see that well. But we're going to try to do this anyway. Because I want to make a video talking to you about the 3 things you should know when it comes to weight management. So we'll start this by breaking down the science of things here. The body is an organism that requires energy, right, to sustain all the processes it goes through. How do we get that energy? Well, the body gets that energy through calories. Now, the body can't just eat food and use that energy right away. It has to break it down into its simplest forms so that it can use it to do work in the body. Every vitamin, every nutrient has specific roles in your body. Every macronutrient, right? You have your 3 major macronutrients, which are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, fats, broken down in their simplest form, are lipids, fatty acids, triglycerides. Proteins are amino acids, and carbohydrates are glucose molecules. So once the food is digested, it's broken down into these forms, and then the body can use it for energy. Fats have roles in terms of body temperature, in terms of protecting organs. Proteins have roles of repair. It does a lot of repair in the body. Muscle tissue is amino acids, so proteins, when they're broken down into the amino acids, can go in and repair that muscle tissue. Carbohydrates, they have roles. The biggest one being energy. Carbohydrates are the body's main source of energy. So it gets pretty detailed and pretty complex, and we're not going to go into all that. I just wanted to kind of break that down because it kind of flows into the weight management aspect. Okay, so your body needs calories, right? We need it for everything we do as long as we're alive. So how does that factor into weight? Well, you may or may not know, but you probably know, and you've probably heard that if you're consuming more calories than you're burning off, you're going to gain weight. If you are burning off the same amount of calories that you are consuming, you're going to maintain your weight. And once you're burning off less calories, I'm sorry, when you're burning off more calories than you are consuming, you will lose weight. When you're burning off less calories than you're consuming, you'll gain weight, meaning you're eating more calories than you're burning off. Now, how does the body burn calories? Well, you have your RMR, which I'm sure you've heard of, your resting metabolic rate. If you want to be real picky and really for sure with your weight goals, whether it's to gain weight, maintain weight, or lose weight, then you can track your RMR. You can calculate it rather, figure out what it is. You can just Google that. There's lots of sites that can give you an idea. You put in your physical activity, and it basically tells you based on your physical activity, based on your height, your weight, your genetics. It basically tells you how many calories you need to maintain weight. So if you want to lose weight, I would suggest decreasing those calories by 300 to 500. I would start with 300, either decreasing the calories you put in or increasing with physical activity. And if you want to gain weight, then I would advise increasing the calories that you are consuming by, again, 300 to 500. This will be to minimize fat gain. It's going to be a slow process. That's how it works. But you want to minimize fat gain when you're gaining muscle, and you hopefully want to minimize muscle loss, right, when you're losing fat. Now, why? Okay, I'll tell you the importance of all this. There are 3 main things when it comes to calories and how they're used. There's your RMR, which we just discussed. Your RMR, okay, is 70%, roughly. 60 to 70% here. I don't know how well you can see this. So, you probably can't see this. I'm sorry. This is not planned out very well. Let me see if I can break this. maybe you can see it a little bit better. So 70% there of your daily calories go to your RMR. Okay? Now, you have something called the process of digestion, right? And in process of digestion, about 10% of calories are used, right? Calories need to be burnt, energy needs to be used to digest your food, to break that food down, right? Now that's genetic. How much? It's roughly 10% of your calories. That's genetically determined, how hard of a process it is, how many calories need to be used. The other 20%, that comes from exercise. Now that we know where our daily calories go to, we know that 70% goes to our RMR, we know that about 10% are used in the process of digestion, and we know that about 20% are used during exercise. Now we can determine how do we get into a process, and I'm going to talk about fat loss here more so than muscle gain in this video, but if you'd like me to talk more specifically about muscle gain, I'll make a video about that as well. But we want to lose fat, so we want to burn those calories, right? That's what I said earlier, that in order to lose fat, you need to be burning off more calories than you consume. Why? Well, calories are energy. Our body needs that energy. Now, what happens when we're burning off more calories than we consume? Right? We don't have that energy. We've burnt it all off. We're not taking enough in to replace that. Well, then you have, let's look at it this way. You've got two major types of two major types of tissue in your body. So, I'm not going to draw this out very well because I'm not an artist, but you've got muscle tissue. So, draw a little muscle here, do a couple straight lines here for the skeletal muscle here, and then you've got fatty tissue. And I'll draw a little sad face there because he's fat. Now, muscle, as we said, is amino acids. Fatty tissue is just, it's fat. It's just fatty tissue. It's lipids. It's triglycerides, right? So, muscle, this guy, and I don't know how well you can see it. Hopefully you can see it pretty well here. It's much smaller than this guy. Now, this is just a little comparison. This is an exaggeration to show you, but muscle is more condensed, okay? So it's going to take up less space in the body than fat. If you look up a pound of fat in comparison to a pound of muscle, it's going to be similar to this. A pound of fat looks much bigger than a pound of muscle. There's some debatable information of whether it weighs the same or whether muscle weighs slightly more. Now, I'm certified with the American Council on Exercise, and they have taught me that muscle weighs slightly more. So, but again, that's kind of up in the air. They might weigh the same. There's a lot of conflicting information sometimes in this field as we learn more and more and more. But what we do know is that pound of muscle right there requires calories just to be in your body, just to maintain itself in your body. In fact, this pound of muscle requires 35 calories at rest. And this pound of muscle requires 0 calories. This pound of fat requires 0 calories. This fat is going to sit in your body until it thinks you're starving, until your body thinks you're starving, and you need to burn it for energy. So when you're burning off more calories than you consume, you're not taking in that energy. The body says, I'm not getting a supply of energy here. I need this energy to function. I'm not being fueled. It's not coming in. So I need to take it. I need to take the energy from the stored fat and use that. That is why you lose fat when you're burning off more calories than you maintain. Now, what does this little muscle guy have to do? 35 calories at rest? What else is at rest? Your RMR. And what does your RMR do? 70%. Remember, RMR is about 70% of calories used. That's huge. So, is your RMR genetically predetermined? Yes. But for every pound of muscle you have, you're going to burn an additional 35 calories at rest, right? So 2 pounds of muscle, that's 70 calories at rest. 3 pounds of muscle, that's an additional 105 calories at rest. How is this linked into fat loss? Well, it would make me think that the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn at rest, right? It's going to increase your RMR. You're going to burn more calories just sleeping, and that's going to help you reach that caloric deficit. Now, of course, increasing physical activity is also 20%. So that's going to help you as well. So I think when it comes to fat loss, it's really important to have a muscle building, muscle strengthening, resistance training program, as well as involve cardio. And of course, stay as active as you can. Now, when it comes to calorie burning, right, it's energy. So if you think about a car, the faster the car is going, the harder the car has to work, the more gas it's going to burn. Same thing as the body, right? The harder your cardio routine, the harder you're working, the more calories your body is going to need to burn to keep up that level of activity, to keep up that with that work there. It's a lot of work. It needs more fuel to do that work. So in terms of fat loss, super important, put on muscle. Number one thing you should know, put on muscle. And you don't have to eat more to put on muscle, especially if you're a beginner, okay? Your body, when you're tearing up those fibers, as long as you're eating enough, as long as you're not under eating, you're going to put on muscle. And you're going to know this because you're going to have strength gains. And the strength gains are going to come first. I mean, you're going to need to eat a lot if you want to put on mass. You're going to need to be in a caloric surplus, but that's a whole other video, okay? But for the average person just trying to lose weight, especially someone who has not done a weightlifting routine before or is a very beginner in it, you will put on muscle by lifting. Now, there's, you want to fatigue your muscles, of course, but just picking things up and just starting those actions and just putting that resistance on your muscles and forcing them to work, they will build. They will build back stronger and better. And for every pound that you build back, they'll burn an additional 35 calories at rest. Now, in terms of the diet part, I personally follow the pyramid. I'm all about fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean meats and just, watching what I eat. But every vitamin, every mineral plays a role in your body. So I think it's highly important to make sure that we're getting tons of those vitamins and tons of those minerals in our diet. You can supplement if you need to, if you can't get it in your diet, but I highly recommend getting it from the diet first. And, and just increasing physical activity, parking farther away, taking the stairs. Calories are like a budget. Okay, now let's say you get a coffee at McDonald's every single day, dollar coffee every single day. And as the days go by, it's a dollar. Who cares? It's just a dollar, 100 pennies, 4 quarters, no biggie. But at the end of the year, had you saved that dollar, well, at the end of the week even, you'd have $7. At the end of the month, you'd have $31, right? Which is a meal right there. And at the end of the year, you'd have $365. I don't know about you, but that's a car payment for me. So that's a lot of money. Calories are the same way. Any way you can burn extra calories, taking the stairs, getting up while you're watching TV and moving around, walking the dog, walking, jogging, etc., you're going to be burning calories. You're always going to be burning more calories moving than not moving. Always. And depending on your eating, depending on your body, depending on all, other factors, that could be enough to put you in a caloric deficit. So, definitely something I recommend. So, in conclusion, the 3 things you need to know about weight management. 1, majority of your calories go through your RMR. Increase your RMR, increase your muscle mass. Goes hand in hand. Big fan of cardiovascular activity and a resistance training program in one. You don't need to be at the gym 7 days a week. I'm talking about you can do this in 3-4 days a week, okay? Start out with 20-30 minutes of cardio, or just start moving more. Start moving more. That's it. Do a resistance program, get a full body I would highly recommend full body once a week. Hit every major muscle group once a week. So you could weight train, 3 days a week, 3 days a week, and do that. You don't need more than an hour at the gym. Could you spend more than an hour in the gym? Sure. You don't necessarily need that, but that's a whole nother video. Okay? So 1, add muscle. Want to lose fat? Add muscle. 2, well, 20% of the calories burned comes from exercise, right? So adding muscle, adding cardio, burning calories any way you can. And 3, diet. Diet, diet, diet. Okay, so it's all about portion control. It's all about knowing what you're putting in your body. If you don't want to calculate your RMR, if you don't want to track your calories, and by the way, there's a lot of apps, easy to do that. MyFitnessPal is a good one. You can just search if you have a smartphone, if you have a computer, you can just search for ways to track your calories, and there's 1,000 apps out there. I'm sure there's websites that can help you out as well. Highly recommend it. And the number 3 thing you need to know about losing fat here is that, well, it's a slow process for one, but we've got exercise, we've got muscle mass, and the process of digestion, which is genetically predetermined, of course. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So I kind of thought this video out and planned it as well as I wanted to. So hopefully I got my point across. But hopefully you've learned that if you burn off more calories than you consume, you'll start to lose weight. If you are burning off the same amount of calories that you are consuming, you will maintain your weight. And when you burn off less calories than you consume, you will gain weight. So calculate your RMR. Start with a 300 to 500 calorie surplus if you want to gain weight, deficit if you're looking to lose weight, or just monitor your weight. Take measurements, step on the scale once a week, take pictures, see how your clothes fit. If you're gaining weight, then you need to look at ways that you can burn off more calories. Look at your diet, how you can clean that up, add in extra activity, and of course, increase muscle, right? Which is also good for just helping us function throughout life. Our muscles contract. That's how we move, okay, right? For me to do this with my arm, my bicep has to contract. For me to straighten out my arm, my tricep has to contract. For me to go above my head and pick something up and bring it down, my shoulders have to contract. For me to walk, for me to run, my legs have to contract, right? So we know that the body breaks down as we age. We also know that if we strengthen it, the bones will strengthen as well, okay? And the tendons, the ligaments that attach, right? Ligaments attach bone to bone, tendons attach muscle to bone, those will strengthen, and the muscles will strengthen, and we will be stronger people. We will be able to, it won't break down as quickly as we age, and we'll be able to continue doing doing our daily activities in life, well, better than if we didn't have that muscle. So it's super important. Anyway, I know this is a long video. I'm really sorry about that, but I wanted to be detailed and I wanted to be in depth. If you have any questions, hit me up. Stay healthy. Stay strong.